and welcome to the Huddle. Liam Santamaria back with you. We spoke with Mitch and McCarron last week. If you haven't caught that, go back, check it out. It was a good chat. You know what else is cool? The Spotify putting the video of these chats in with the podcast. So if you want the full video experience, they'll be on YouTube. But if you want a little bit of both, you can check that out on Spotify. Today, we're staying with the Boomers vibe. Will McDowell-White, the point guard for the Breakers, of course, fresh off the Asia Cup and set for a big year in the NBL. So sit back, relax. Up next, Will McDowell-White. Will, what's happening, mate? Fresh off the practice floor. How you going?
Good. I'm just finally happy to be back in Auckland with the boys, and just good to be back on the court again.
Finally happy to be back in Auckland. Mate, you're an Aussie. What are you doing playing for the Kiwis over there?
They just sell the dream a little bit better. That's all.
Sell the dream. All right, we'll get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about free agency and re-signing with the Breakers a little bit. But mention being back in Auckland. What happened to your bags?
I guess Qantas just wanted to keep what was in them.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I only got half of my stuff, so I'm working on one pair of socks.
Oh no!
We've got no tights. We've got hardly any shoes. I'm just winging it at this point.
Oh no! Don't shoot down the sponsors. I'm sure it was a smooth flight across. You just need to get that bag sorted.
Yeah, I must have talked to Big Matt Walsh about that one.
Practice first day out on the floor, back with the Breakers today. I saw some vision. Craig sent me some vision of you out there. Cam Glidden out there on the floor. What does the first day of practice with Moti Mayor look like? I
had a little bit of weights before that, before on the court. Then, got on the court, a lot of pick and roll stuff, trying to, upgrade from the last couple of years on that. Trying to work on rejecting screens into different finishes around the rim. There's a lot of big bodies, especially this year, going around the league. So trying to, get the ball up and over those big boys.
Nice. I feel like we're going to see a whole lot of you operating pick and roll this season. You're going to have fun with Derek Pardon and some teammates. Talk about having fun. Looks like you had some fun over the past 6 weeks in the green and gold.
Yeah, no, that was experience of a lifetime. Not many get to do it. And, I guess as a Boomer going, I think I went 9-0. So I still haven't lost yet, which is nice. But I think it was just the group of boys we had, both in Melbourne and Jakarta. They just made it so much fun. And, you could see we just love to play for each other. And, it showed with a nice gold medal around our neck.
For sure. Got a little hairy down the stretch of that gold medal game.
Yeah, I probably personally didn't have the best last minute of that game, but we still pulled through.
Hey, chatting with Macca last week, I'm not sure if you caught any of it, but I asked him, who did you enjoy playing with on that squad? And he said, Will McDowell-White. I enjoyed just sharing the backcourt with him, going back and forth. Was it, is the feeling mutual?
Oh, 100%. He was, if I had to put someone at the top, it was definitely Macca. He got the veteran leadership. And he was really the one that got me going, even in Melbourne as well. Telling me to be, all my life I've heard is just to be more aggressive, which can be, I guess, too much of a general statement. Whereas he was more direct and more pinpoint on where he wanted me to take shots, make reads, make plays. And, he made my life a lot easier, and everyone else, as you could see.
Well, that's really interesting because that's a backcourt of two guys that can grab it and go. And then, it's two guys that can play on or off the ball. And it's two guys as well who do sometimes have that issue about being a little too selfless, and not knowing when it's time to be aggressive. So when he was talking specifically there about how he wanted you to approach it, well, what kind of things was he talking about?
First thing was just in transition, especially if I get a rebound, just to push it, look to get on the rim. Obviously, if you're open to shoot the ball, and there was times where he was just yelling at me to shoot it, when I didn't want to. And yeah, he was the one trying to put me in all the pick and rolls and making me be the decision maker. And he can just play off closeouts and things like that. But yeah, it was good to actually share the backcourt with another guy like that. I think it made our game a lot more free flowing, even though we weren't scoring a lot to begin with. Yeah, it was just a lot easier with a guy like that.
Love that. I mentioned in my chat with Macca last week about how much I love his game, and that's kind of part of why, because there's nothing like playing with a guy who you feel like wants you to succeed.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
I mean, I imagine there's an element of that you're saying, all right, I'm going to play a similar role on this Breakers team this season. You're going to take some of that into this squad.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, Modi's been on me for that ever since the off season, and hopefully I can just build more consistency with that aggressive mindset instead of like last year, having a couple of games and then falling off, having another good 2-3 game stretch and then falling off again. It's just about building that consistency all year round.
Speaking about those couple of games, Macca spoke about that one in Adelaide where you gave them the business in that first half. You guys lost the game. It crumbled away in the second half, but that first half was something special. And you know what was cool was he said, what was the quote? He said, that's the Will that I know from Brisbane, the kid that was growing up that everyone was fascinated about and would go watch play. I mean, what was that time like when you were growing up in Brisbane? Did you have a sense that there was like excitement about you as a prospect and that older guys from around the game were coming to watch you play?
Not really. I've probably had a confidence problem my whole life, not even just with the pros. Growing up, I never thought I was the best player, or I would go into games where I thought, I might get shown up here today against guys who had no business being on the court with me. But honestly, yeah, once I think I went to a nationals and Macca was in the under 18s and I was the under 12s. And once I saw them really coming to games and watching, I thought, okay, that was the first time I was like, okay, it could be something. But I've never really had that sense of I could be an exciting prospect or I could be a good player in certain leagues. So yeah, that's like, I never knew that was a thing, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that feeling, like, is that still a thing?
It was. I honestly think after this Boomers campaign, it's changed a lot. Especially Macca, but also in Melbourne when we had Delhi, he was on me the same way. Jack White, all these guys who are now in the NBA are telling me to be the decision maker, the scorer, the most aggressive player on the team. It's just it's changed the mindset a little bit, but now it's about building it even more and more for the season.
So 2 seasons ago, when you come into the Breakers off the GLeague, and in your 4th game, you have a triple-double. Right. And the guys that were having triple-doubles in the league at that time were guys, LaMelo Ball the season prior, Josh Giddey that year after you. So do you come out of a game like that sort of think, I mean, you're not thinking, all right, well, this is what I do now. I'm a triple-double machine. I'm going to do this game in, game out. Or is it more like, damn, that went well?
I remember in that moment, I thought, like, oh, that's a pretty cool thing to do. But yeah, I never thought I'd never had the mindset of, I'm going to do it again, or I'm going to try do it again. I'm going to, be even a double machine or something like that. It was, for me, it was just kind of a one game. I was like, okay, it was just a good day, I guess. Guys, got to thank the other guys for hitting shots and for Colton for letting me grab some rebounds. But yeah, I thought it was just it was just a good day.
Damn, that's crazy, because we come out of that game thinking he can do this on the regular.
Yeah.
Like if he just comes into the games with that kind of mindset, and I'm sure Marty's saying exactly the same thing to you right now.
Oh yeah. No, he's talked my ear off about that stuff. He's throwing some numbers at me that I should be getting this year, and personally, I've always thought it's something I could never do. But like I said before, with this Boomers campaign, I think it's something that's realistic and I can do.
Do you have the keys for New Zealand this season?
From what I've heard, I do.
What does that feel like?
I was a little nervous start, but now I think I'm just ready to take it on. Just if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down fighting.
Love it.
So it is.
Love it. Hey, we'll circle back a little bit to that, to the Breakers and the season ahead and what you've got and what you want to get done. Let's just stick though a little bit to like that experience of growing up and playing ball. Your family, like your brothers. I grew up as one of 3 brothers playing ball in the backyard. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
It was a lot of beatdowns on my end. Copped it pretty hard from my older brother Daryl. But it's just pretty cool because there's so many of us. We can go out there and we can play like 4-on-4, 3-on-3. Even now that the younger ones are getting older and Kobe's about to finish high school, they can sort of hang with us a little bit, so it makes it more intriguing. But yeah, those were the best. Those are like, as everyone knows, those are the best one-on-one battles you'll ever have. Like there's nothing like it. And we don't get to do it much anymore. Most of it because I'm never home, and my brother, he's got a little kid now, and so I miss the days, but hopefully we can get back to them soon.
I could remember playing my older brother and getting to a point where I had a shot to win, and thinking in my head, if this goes down, I better get out of here quick.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I knew something was going to happen if I won. So there were a lot of times where it would be close. But okay, you win, just so I don't go inside with a black eye or a broken bone somewhere.
For real. What about your old man? Did he get out there and hoop with you? Because I went on a tour in the territory with your dad years and years ago. It would be almost 20 years ago now. And we played in one of the communities. There was a court late night. It was like us that were there in town versus the ballers of that community. And it was Lob City with your dad. He would just go up and get it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, he can still get the rim. He can still grab the rim. He's even after I think maybe 3 knee constructions. He's still athletic. But yeah, no, he'd be out there all the time. I remember there was one time in Darwin, went to visit my mum's parents, and it was just me and him at the back, and we played 4 quarters. It was first to 21 is a quarter,
right? And
I think I beat him 84-82 on a game-winning 3, and I haven't played him since.
That's it.
I left it at that. I was like, because I think I was only about 12 at the time, something like that. So I was like, I may never beat him until it's too late, until he can't walk. So I left it at that.
How did he handle it?
Not good. Didn't speak to me for a while. Mainly probably because I kept reminding him about it. Right. But yeah, that's the one and only time I'll ever beat him.
Never play again. I like it. Kobe's a baller, right?
Yeah, especially last year had a monster year in NBA 1. This year hasn't been the same. A bit of that is probably their team isn't that great. But yeah, he has a strap on him, can shoot the lights out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the one big thing on him is his height, but we'll see how he does. I don't know. I'm not sure what he wants to do after high school.
Mm-hmm.
Even talked about bringing him over here just to practice with us and get around some grown men. Should be good for him. But yeah, not sure. He might go overseas, might go to school. might not. But yeah, it's his world.
And it is what. How was that experience? Was it maybe a year ago more when you, Kobe, and Daryl Jr. played together for Red City?
Yeah, no, that was cool because the year before, when COVID first broke out, Kobe he played for Spartans while me and Daryl played for Red City. Um, so it was really cool, and I think the coolest thing was that our first game of us three playing together was Indigenous round, which is obviously a big thing for us. And yeah, we got a nice win against someone, and it was cool to make the debut for us three on Indigenous round, representing our people and the culture and things. So it was really cool.
For sure, that is cool. When you came back to the league a few years ago, we all started reflecting on when you were in the league prior to that, when you splashed in the 16-17 Sydney Kings. Andrew Gaze at the helm. Man, that was a cast of characters. Greg Whittington, Josh Powell, that Steve Blake squad.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that group like on and off the floor?
Probably not the best group as an 18-year-old to come into. It was just a lot of different personalities. I tried to hang around Kev Lish and Kiddy, especially on the court. Off the court, spent a lot of time with Greg, which is probably not a good thing. But yeah, there was just too many different characters there. It was honestly, it was pretty bizarre, but and then having Drewy there, the character that he is, with Copes as well. It was interesting. It was interesting for sure.
There was there was some ish that went down in their locker room at one point. Am I correct?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I was there at the time, but I heard from what I heard, there was a good square up in the locker room after a particular game.
Square up.
Yeah. I won't go into the details, but there was something going on.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to probe the great man.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to probe the GOAT at that point at some stage. Hey, Germany or the G League? Which one was better for your game?
Germany, yeah, by far. I think, the G Leagues, I like to call it pick up with refs. Which is, it's just I think it's just a lot of guys trying to get numbers and get call ups, which is not good for certain guys. And in Europe, you play the right way or you're gone. So that was that's easy choice.
Let's talk about the Breakers squad. What do you think of the group that you've got together? Firstly, you're going to be playing in New Zealand. Like, you've been part of the Breakers for 2 years and you've barely stepped foot in Auckland, which is unbelievable. So there's that element of it. And then also the squad that Modi and Co have put together.
I think Mo's done a really good job, actually. I think we've got a versatile lineup. A lot of guys who can play different positions. A lot of guys who can play on and off the ball. Someone like Jarrell Brownlee can really help us at that 4 spot. And we know what Derek Pardon can do, especially in pick and roll. That's going to be a fun little duo, I'm hoping. And then surrounding us with shooters is going to be a lot of fun. And I was talking to Glizzo, throughout the Boomers campaign, even today. I was like, man, it's going to be a lot of fun just spraying that ball to you.
For sure.
Wherever you are, you're just going to knock it down. And I think the best part about it is we got a lot of guys who are just going to come in and play hard, which is probably what we lacked definitely last year. I think we were just too nice. I guess we kind of used our excuse of not being home too much, and we kind of fell in love with falling back on that. Whereas this year we look at it as though we don't have an excuse. We've got home games. We're going to be at home. We're going on a road trip. We're coming back home. So it's going to be a good. It's going to be a fun year, and we're going to get up and down. We're going to play hard, fast, and see how it goes.
That's a big one for sure. What you said there, we're going on a road trip, but we're coming back home. That's what I've been saying the last couple of years with you guys is you never had that circuit breaker game. No. When you go 2 games in a row on the road, you lose, you're on a losing streak. You got a home game. Crowd goes nuts in the third quarter as you go on a run and you can just break the circuit. You're going to have that this season.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be. Yeah, I've been thinking about that first game at Spark, and I think we might throw 6 turnovers in the first 2 minutes because we're that excited. Like
Don't do that.
it might be a rough first few minutes because we'll just be full of energy and ready to go. The crowd, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
You're just talking about the squad there. Kick aheads to Brantley. You pick and roll with Pardon, and you're going to have an import wing there that's not yet announced that can catch and
Yeah,
shoot. When you're sharing the backcourt with Izzy, he can catch and shoot. Glidden, Abercrombie, mate, it's triple doubles.
yeah, it should be, shouldn't it?
I think so.
It should be, especially yeah. I think the assists are going to come pretty easily. Just hopefully Derek and Jarrell, Tommy V can lend me some boards at the end of the day so I can get some. But it's going to be yeah. Hopefully you can have more than one this year.
The free agency, Perth came for you, Brisbane came for you. You had options on the table. You were one of the big names in free agency. Teams around the league can see that you are like set to take a leap and go on a bit of a journey. I mean, did you take the time to look closely at all of those other options?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we definitely did. I think Brisbane came on as soon as I got home. They didn't let me take a day off at all. So yeah, I sat down with Semi Max, sat down with Kiddy and Sobe. Honestly, they were like every option I had was that they were all great. They were all great options. I think the one thing we were looking for is just a place where I'm going to take the next step, where I'm going to be, the guy in a sense to, take over the team and run this organization. And now you look at the signings that Brisbane have had, and it's like, maybe that's not going to be the spot. Perth it really came down to Perth and New Zealand. Perth with Bryce, and they'll probably get another import that'll be really good. And just not sure if that's the one we want to do. Adelaide came as well a little bit. But yeah, New Zealand was just a spot where I knew this was where I was going to be able to take the next step and then set myself up for the rest of the career. So yeah, it came down close to a lot, but at the end of the day, when you look back at it, it was an easy decision.
Did the hometown element come into it?
Yeah, a little bit. I do like to play away from home. I just feel more comfortable doing that, and might do that at a later stage. But just right now, want to be uncomfortable being away from everybody. Just want to have my own space, and I hope that'll take care of itself.
I'm talking about taking your game to the next level. I was still looking into, I was looking at your numbers and whatnot. So in fact, let's talk about that for a sec, because you took a leap last season with your shooting. You went from 28% from three to around 37% on the year. And you had some big games knocking down shots. You were shooting the ball with confidence. You had 4 of 7 from three in that semi-final at the Asia Cup against New Zealand. I mean, this is the case for a lot of players, but I feel like it's certainly the case with you. That's an area that I feel like that just unlocks your game at the offensive end. Is you feeling good with your stroke right now?
Yeah, no, 100%. That started last preseason with Modi. We shot so many shots that even to this day, I've still got some shoulder problems. We would shoot every single day, just hundreds of shots every day, before practice, after practice. Even during the season as well. But yeah, all those shots just made it so much easier. Like I wasn't even thinking when I was shooting. Whereas past years, I would be in the air and I'm like, well, should I pass this ball? Should I pass this ball? Or is someone open? Whereas like this year, was like, if I'm up, it's going up.
Right.
And a lot of the time I thought it's going in. Whereas even though maybe it didn't. But yeah, it was so many reps with Modi last year, and some of it came down to footwork as well. We got a footwork now that just feels comfortable, feels right. And it's just easier to get some elevation on the shot, makes it easier on my upper body. It feels effortless. that's the big thing we've preached, is make the shot feel effortless.
Right.
Now it does, and it's been going in.
Dude, it's so interesting to hear you talk there about like what's going on in your mind in that moment, because, you know, we talk about how much of the game is played from the shoulders up. I'm a big John Wooden guy. I don't know if you know much about John Wooden. I got all the John Wooden books back here, right? But one of his like definition of success is not about like the outcome. It's something along the lines of the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've done everything in your power to be the best that you can be. And I feel like that's what you're talking about there. You put in all those hours and all those reps. In that moment, you've just got peace of mind of shooting that ball, and you're not second guessing it.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And that was just, like I have to give that all to Modi. He was to the point where he would just yell at me on the phone if I messed up a footwork. I'm like, God, I can't just mess up one time. No, every time has to be perfect, has to be the same. And you know, it's obviously paid off, and it's feeling good.
You're only 24. That shocks me. You're just one of those guys that, if for people who have watched the NBL or watched Australian basketball for years, it just feels, I just thought you were like 27, 20. I watched you at the Summer League like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like a guy like Bull Qual comes into the league. He was rookie of the year last year. You're like a year younger than him. So you're in this perfect space right now, ready to sort of take a leap with your game. And you've spoken about that. And that's a big reason why you kind of signed back with the Breakers and what you're working towards. So obviously the team goal is to win the championship, right? Is to reconnect with the Breakers fan base back in Auckland and have a bounce back year and ultimately win the title. But what for you personally are you trying to get done this year?
Oh, I know me and Modi have talked about certain numbers we want to hit. You know, we want to hit this kind of the 16-8-8 kind of line. For me, the coolest thing to be would probably to be the most improved, because I know how much, I now know how much I have left and how much there is more to come. And you know, right now we're just trying to unlock the next layer and then the next layer. And you know, it kind of scares me how good those next layers can make me. But I think a most improved player it'll give me, like we said before, a peace of mind that everything we've done has worked. And it's just going to be satisfying to know that, you know, there's not much left to do after this year. As far as game, you know, if there's another layer to unlock, it's only a little bit. That would be satisfying for me.
Awesome, man. Well, we can't wait to watch it take place. And rest assured, despite the fact that you're playing across the ditch, you've got a lot of support back here. We love watching you play, and keep up the hard work in preparation to try to make all of that a reality. And thanks heaps for the chat.
Yeah, no problem. This was fun. Should do it again.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, Liam.